Hey guys, welcome back to Storytime. It's been a while since my last Storytime, but if you are new to Storytime, it's where I just share testimonies, stories in my life, and just for us to have a good time together. This Storytime's over a dream I recently had, and a dream that I had like maybe a year, maybe like 5 months ago maybe. Stay till the end of the video because I'll be sharing a wicked dream that could be creepy to some, but I just see it as weird. But anyway, this dream that I had recently was pretty much me on a boat with me and my parents. We went on a cruise, but in real life, I've never been on a cruise. I don't even know what that's like. Anyway, we went on a cruise, and there was like performers kind of doing things to entertain the people that are on the boat. We got clowns, we have, I don't know what else there was. There was all kinds of different performances that do different things. But there was a magician there, but he was a rather creepy looking magician, and he wasn't like, like creepy as in like David Blaine where he didn't creepy things, but looked creepy himself. And he kind of looked like a clown. He had black kind of like on his eyes and then white. A Joker in a sense, but he was skinny, scrawny looking dude, but he was acting psycho. He was crazy. But anyway, we're at like a stage area to where he's performing some tricks or something on the stage for the audience members. And he needed somebody to help him do the trick. He grabbed my arm and pulled me onto the stage. And so I went on stage. He put me on a wooden stool chair and just didn't really expect anything really. I was more of just blanked out, just like like this, just kind of I don't know what to do. But then he's always close to me, like he has no personal space. He's right here just laughing in my face like a psycho. But then he grabs my arm, yanks it, and just snaps the thing where my elbow goes this way, and it looks so ugly. But he was just snapping it over and over again. Like, dude, it's broken already. But he just kept doing it and started laughing and laughing. I'm looking at everybody in the audience. They did absolutely nothing. But he was just snapping my arm over and over again. But I didn't react. I remember my face being just blank. And then he just threw my arm, and I just, I can't move it now. It's broken. And then he kind of walks off a little to the distance a little bit, grabs us. He goes into his little jacket or whatever and just goes whoosh and brings a stick, like a black stick, maybe like it was kind of a big stick, maybe like that. He starts looking at me all weird and starts waving the stick, and I'm looking at him not realizing that my arm is following what his stick is doing. So wherever he moved the stick is where my broken arm that he just broke was moving. So he had control over my arm somehow because he broke it, and nobody was reacting to anything. They thought it was a trick somehow. I'm not too sure. What gets a little even weirder is when we fast forward and just start eating dinner, and my arm is still broken, but I'm just eating dinner nonchalantly like everybody else. My dad gives me a steak, and it's a steak on a white plate, and there's nothing else on it. Then all this black thick goo, oily stuff starts forming underneath it and just starts coming out of it. First thing I thought of was I didn't order gravy on my steak. This guy that was next to me, had no idea who he is, grabs my plate and just starts yelling at everybody. He didn't order gravy on his steak. It just so happened the magician was right there when he was saying it. What do you laugh? And he just looked at me and starts just laughing at me. And then he comes and whispers to me and grabs my shoulder and says, I have control over what you eat. I have control over every movement that you make from now on, since you gave me permission. And I was like, what? And from this moment, I finally realized that's Satan. I didn't know what to do. I just looked at him, and he's got, of course, a psycho face, and he's got a big grin, but it's all creepy. And I didn't understand that. And when he said that, everybody left, not as in walked away, but everything just kind of moved back, and everything turned to like a black abyss. And it's just me sitting in a chair, and he left somehow. I guess everything faded. And then all of a sudden, I start going like this. I start moving and doing all kinds of weird stuff. And then I look up, and he's playing with me like a puppet. Like he's just moving me around. And I look at my arms, and I got strings on me, and I'm like his puppet right now. He's moving me around. He has control over me. And then he just grabbed it, swung it, and threw me, and I woke up. Now, that was a crazy dream to have because, there's so many things that you can get out of this. It's when you give Satan permission to go ahead and mess with you, then he's going to mess with you because you gave him that, okay, go on ahead. But then he doesn't have the same rules and regulations that you may think he has. That I want you to I give you permission for one thing. People do that. I'll let me become famous, and that's fine and this, but Satan's not working in those rules and regulations. He can do whatever he wants when you give him permission one time. When it came to breaking my arm, I let him break my arm over and over again and allowed him to use me on the stage and all that stuff, knowing he was a crazy psycho, probably going to do some weird stuff. And that's pretty much how it is in, in life. We know Satan's nuts, but he can do good things for you in the world, but not in the long run, which ruins your entire life. When I actually made a podcast over this dream not too long ago, recommend checking out, link in the description, called Don't Be Satan's Puppets. The dream let me know that when you give Satan permission, it allows him to take over your life, letting him kind of just move you around like a puppet. And then that's where Jesus comes in as freedom, cuts those strings off, grabs you and scoops you up. That's the same thing. And that's where freedom is because you're no longer in bondage like that, being held together in this one thing, but God saved you and cut you off, and you're now free, and you can now live your life. Or you can still mimic his movements even though you're not attached. You can easily move away and walk away towards God, but Satan is deceiving you, making you think that you can't go that way, that you are still here, you're not under Satan or nothing, you're just living your life normal. And that's exactly what this dream was kind of going over. Be sure to not be Satan's puppets, whether you see it or not. If it's not of God, then it's nothing of God, of course, so then it's nothing good. There's nothing good coming out of it in the long run. And you need to look at the today with God and not in the long run of I'll get God later and I'll just kind of do a few of these worldly things, and it doesn't hurt to do them at all. It's not like I'm killing anybody. It's nothing like that. That is deceiving you from starting your relationship with God right now. And if you want to learn how to start your relationship with God right now, this very second, you can click this video right here, and I go into exact detail on how to do that right now. And that's pretty much my story and a little bit of intel into that. But now we're going to go into the last dream. And it's kind of, it's weird, so I really want y'all to bear with me here a little bit. I'm going to read it off my phone because for you to understand the story fully, I got to look at it because I wrote it down. It's a full page. I wrote it down pretty much right away when I woke up. So there's this little boy, and he's not acting like himself. He's kind of like dead inside, right? He's there's something about him that's just not there. And his mom was getting worried about him. And after school, he always walks home and goes straight to his room. So right after he gets home, she goes and checks in on him if he's there, if he's home, if he walked home. But the next day she comes home and goes straight to the kitchen without checking if he's there or not. But then calls the boy 3 different times to come and help her do different tasks in the kitchen. And every time he comes out and helps her with those 3 different things that she needs. But the school calls and says, "Ma'am, you need to come to the school right now." She drives to the school. The ambulance, the police are surrounding the school. She goes into the classroom and they tell her, "Ma'am, we're sorry, but your son seemed to commit suicide early this morning." The police opens the classroom door closet, and on a high shelf lies her son curled up with glassy eyes with a pencil on his throat. The mom cries in sadness, but remembers she called him 3 times. And every time he came out. She looks out the window of the school, and because she can see her house from the school because it's like walking distance. And she sees her house from the school and through the window, and she says, "So who is that boy?" And the police says, "Who?" "The boy that is in my house right now, that came out of his room. Or is that not my son?" I thought that dream was really wicked. It was a wicked dream. I really don't know where that came from, to be honest with you, because I don't watch anything creepy, or I don't really have time to watch anything at all. And if I do, it's like very short because I'd rather I just make videos. But if you kind of did enjoy this story time, where I kind of just share some, stories and testimonies and just having a good time with y'all, but of course still teaching you guys stuff, because I will always do that, whether it's just a story or not. I'm always going to give intel on how it just corresponds to living with God. So if you did enjoy this video, hit the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss any more story times or any more preachings. In the description, there is a one-on-one link so you can talk to me in a Zoom call so that we can talk about anything, just chat, or if you have questions, I'll be answering them personally and just having a good conversation with you guys on there. If you're curious on how to live in peace with forgiveness, this video right here will share exactly how to do that and the amazing physical things that can change with forgiveness. And I'll see you in that video in just a little bit. Messenger out.